All right, today on the Button Up Podcast, we have Gabriel from the Mensch. Welcome, Gabriel.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
So I came across your channel just through one of your comments, and then I followed you back to your Instagram, and I've liked following you ever since. And I want to get a sense of how you started there, and if you've always been in Queens and where you grew up. So interested to hear your story.
Okay, so I'll start a little bit with my background. Yeah, it happens to be that I was inspired a lot by just the YouTube burst of YouTubers out there, especially in the style community. Everyone's got the Alpha M bug at some point, I think. Maybe you guys could speak to that also. You know what I'm saying? You
Oh
binge
yeah.
watch all of Alpha's videos because his energy is really infectious. It's just like you start watching one video, it just whatever turns you on to a whole new world of YouTube. And so I think it definitely started a few years ago. That maybe 3, 4 years ago. I was a freshman in college, and just started watching these videos and really getting turned on to style and just lifestyle videos like that. And I think over time I developed my own sense of style, and I wouldn't say I got obsessed with it, but it became a really serious hobby of mine. And yeah, so this past year, as I was graduating, one of my really good friends, who's my photographer, maybe we'll get to him a little bit later, David. So we were just talking. I said, like, I really think, his photography, he's a great photographer. And I was like, with your skills, and I think with my style, and I have so much clothes, and I need to justify it somehow. So I was like, I think we could really do, something with that on Instagram, YouTube, something. And he was really like serious about it. And I'm not necessarily the guy who like maybe I make a suggestion, but I won't actually follow up on it. And he was really great, and he was like, let's do it. Um, and so yeah, it just kind of got started like that. Eventually, he called me over last summer, and he said, just bring over a bunch of clothes, and I'll take some pictures, and we'll put them online and on Instagram. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. And so once you get the first thing done, I think everyone. I definitely watched some of maybe your videos. There's a lot of guys who put out videos like how to get started, and so I think everyone says the same thing, that just to get started, the first thing you put out is the hardest thing to do. And like, so I think once we got that first shoot in, it kind of just, we just made it like kind of a routine thing that every few weeks we would get together and do some shoots. And yeah, just eventually it just started going, and we've been rolling with it ever since.
So you started out pretty early, and I remember you didn't show, you don't in your pictures you don't show your face, but you didn't even have them like in your story and things. What was some of your thoughts there?
Yeah, so that's also something that we've just been adapting to. And I think when I first started out, I really think I'm a pretty normal guy, and so I wasn't looking for like a lot of attention with this stuff. I was really just looking at it as kind of like a hobby, and just something to do with all the clothes I had, and to self-express myself. So I think in the beginning, especially because I'm in such a close-knit community, it happens to be, that I really didn't want it to make it about me necessarily, about like my face and who I was. So we both decided. I mean, it happens to be David, who's much better with social media stuff than I am. He said, like, at some point, if you really want to, pursue this, you will have to show your face and show your personality, because that's what people want to see, and identify with you. And so I kind of knew that in the back of my head, but I was really, and I'm a pretty outgoing guy, and like I was really apprehensive about showing my face and just being out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a pretty scary thing, I think, at first. And yeah, so I think, eventually, only 2 months ago, I think, around 2 months ago, is when I first started doing unboxing videos or live videos, and actually started to show my face a little bit more. And I think the engagement really shot up. Like, people all of a sudden really, first of all, it was a big deal. Like, people who had followed me were so excited. They're like, "Oh my gosh, like, you show your face, it's so cool." So that to me was like it was just a nice way to interact with people. And I started to realize also that um, the people in my community, like my friends, I was worried about them knowing, my girlfriend, her friends, you know what I'm saying, family, just hey Mensch, what's going on, like that stuff. I was nervous about. I didn't want that. So, but eventually, I think once you get a certain degree of engagement and followers and credibility, once we have a huge, we have a nice and long page of photos, and it looks very legitimate. I think we do a really good job. So once I got more confident in it, I really wanted to just become more relatable and more interactive with my followers. And I think it was just a natural course of events. Eventually, I was just let's do it. Especially after I graduated, I had more time. So I was up for the challenge.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was your one of your glasses unboxings because I was like, oh, there's the Mensch. There he is. That was pretty cool.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
Um,
didn't talk about my channel at all when I first started. Like, there's actually probably a subgroup of my family and relatives that still don't know that I have a YouTube channel for that like exact reason.
Right. Yeah. And for some reason, it's like more than just the world. It's just like my small group of friends and like family. To me, that's way more scary just because, you know what I'm saying? Like I've been a certain person, let's say my whole life, and, they know me as whatever who I am. And to me, it's just like all of a sudden I have this whole identity, like I'm an Instagrammer, whatever it is. And, yeah, especially fashion. It's like, it's not for everybody, you know what I'm saying? So, um, it's just one of those things that especially if you're not in that zone, if you're not into fashion, then people might think it's, I don't know. I mean, I don't think about it too much, but I think that especially if you see like family and friends who don't really, see that part of you. So then, yeah, it could just be a little bit of, just a little bit of a different perspective, I guess, on who you are as a person.
What has the reaction been from family and friends? Because I totally agree, especially from friends. It's like, if you have typical guy friends, I would say.
Yeah. So, I mean, um, I think really I didn't tell a lot of people until I had a few thousand followers, especially my close friends. And I also wanted it to come from me. Like I wanted to be like, oh yeah, I have this cool page, I didn't want it to be like all of a sudden, someone found it from my personal page and discovered it because let's say I was commenting from my personal page or liking it and someone saw it. And then they were like, oh my gosh, you do this? Like, since when? Like, what I'm saying? I didn't want it to be like that. So eventually, I think after the first few months, we had a few thousand subscribers already. And at that point, or followers, and at that point, I was already pretty much open to telling people about it. So when my aunt started making comments, oh, the Mensch, how's it going? I love your page, this and that. It's really funny because like I didn't go to fashion school, you know what I'm saying? I don't think you guys went to fashion school, but we're all, fashion interested and fashion enthusiasts. And it's funny because like I all of a sudden I have like all this credibility. I don't know if you have that also, but I'm sure you do. But like people started asking me all these questions, and it's actually a nice thing because I think that it's something that I'm good at and something I could take pride in. And so it's something that I've come to actually appreciate about myself also is that I'm just learning to kind of take the punches and take take the positive, but also the negative, both sides of it. But just to take on that identity as like that style guy and kind of roll with it. It's been fun. It's been a challenge, but it's been fun also.
And when you started, did you have like any, I guess, ambition to do this as a business or make money, or what is it really purely just a hobby?
Okay, I'm so glad Brock asked this question because first I have to issue a formal apology to Brock because if you remember me and David, the photographer, we actually sent an email to you, Brock, asking about how you made money, I think, or something about monetizing. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember this?
Right. Yeah, I do remember that.
You do remember? And I was like
For
shocked.
that.
I was shocked by your response. You gave me like I don't know how you did it. You did like a 5-minute video response kind of thing. You like went to my page, and like me and David, we watched it together, and we were like, we thought it was the coolest thing ever that like Brock took time out of his day to like send us a video. It was really cool. And so, first of all, I have to apologize because we never really answered you. I think partly because we were like so shocked that you even like sent such a response, and we were like so excited. So it was hard for us to send an answer. And also, like I think we made typos in like the email. Like he signed it like David, but then he wrote like my name's Gabriel, whatever. It was a whole thing. But basically, yeah. At first, I think when I started, like I said last year, I'm still in college. I was still in college when I started it, and so. Yeah, it wasn't really something I was thinking about in terms of a career, really, because I'm a psych major, whatever I'm pursuing. I think I'm going to pursue that as it is as my primary really occupation. But it was just something that I wanted to do on the side as a hobby, as a form of expression. And I think that's 100% where it has to come from. A lot of times is that I've heard you say a number of times, both you guys, that it doesn't have to come from. It shouldn't come from a place where you want to make money out of it. It has to come from a place of passion. I heard Carl say that a bunch of times. And it's a slow process. And so for me, listen, eventually, it's good. We're going to have to make some money from it if we want to keep doing it, and it has to be worth our time. You know what I'm saying? And just to see that reinforcement and to keep going with it. But yeah, I think primarily it's really been at least the way I think of it in my head is like I don't think of it as like a moneymaker. I think of it more as a form of expressing myself and really helping people out and kind of showing who I am. And I think the money, if it comes, it will come naturally, and I don't have to push too hard for it. And I think opportunities have already presented themselves as being an influencer. They do. I mean, it's the best form of advertising, as you guys know, for these like small companies that are popping up seemingly every day, right? There's like a new company that's like reaching out um, to send stuff and to get it reviewed and to promote it. So there definitely are opportunities out there, and I think it's something that it's something to look forward to, and something that helps me feel validated and reinforced that we're doing a good job.
Yeah, if I was able to charge $1 for every new watch company that I got an email from, I'd be pretty set. But so
Yeah.
you said you started out with your partner, and he does the photography. What's that dynamic been like as the channel or as your page has evolved?
I think it's a real difference maker, honestly, that you have someone there who's, first of all, he's pushing me because I don't know how it works with other influencers, but it's like I think it's sometimes it gets hard. You know, it's not easy to create content all day, and I'm sure it gets monotonous and stuff. And for him to be there, first of all, pushing, but also taking some of the responsibilities, whether it be just managing the account or even just pushing me to, for free time, come over, let's do a video, let's do a live video, let's take some pictures. We're behind on this. Just scheduling things. It's really amazing. And plus, I have a good friend that we get to hang out and talk. We have a lot in common. It's just a great way to stay motivated, is to have someone there with you and helping you along. And it's been a real blessing to have them there with me. And yeah, I even talked to other people about, who are their photographers. Like for me, I would never be able to do this if I was just putting, clothes on the floor. Like I don't really know enough about photography, and to me it would be a little bit too burdensome, I think. So I think having another person there, especially on an Instagram platform, is really beneficial. But yeah, it also brings with it the challenge of kind of it's got to be me, I think, mostly because it's my face and everything like that, and it's a hard balance, really, because David's there, and I think my followers know he's there. I always point him out when he's there during a live video or anything. But keeping it a personality thing. I think that's a big part of Instagram is about finding a personality, and it's a really great platform. I remember reaching out to Teddy Baldessar. I know you guys said Teddy, right? So I remember reaching out to him a few months ago, like when he didn't have really any followers on Instagram, and just asking him questions like, I don't even know, just trying to make a connection. And I think right after I started to notice that even at the end of his videos, he would say like, a great way to reach me personally and to connect with me is on Instagram, because it's really the direct messaging is a great way to really reach someone personally, and also commenting on pictures and stuff like that is a very personal way to connect with someone. Also, like the polls, like I always put up polls and videos and stories is a much more personal thing than, let's say, making a video on YouTube and just commenting that a lot of times will get flushed away within the long abyss of comment sections on YouTube. So yeah, I think it's again a really personal platform, and I think I'm very thankful for that about Instagram.
Yeah, Teddy, we actually should be posting pretty soon in the next couple of weeks. We interviewed him back at the end of May or early June. But yeah, I think that's been one of the things that Brock and I have discussed around Brian Sakawa's success, if he spoke style, is that he has a professional photographer that he works with and he's is able to collaborate with. So I actually didn't know that. That's pretty cool that you've got that collaboration going. And I agree, it can definitely be a grind to do it all on your own. So. I know you're in Queens now. Have you always been a New York guy? Is that where you grew up?
Yeah, it happens to be that it's funny. Like David lives in Queens, right next to Queens College. I went to Queens College, so it happens to be like we tagged Queens because that's really where we're doing all our shoots. But I actually live on Long Island, about like 40 minutes away. That's actually where I am now. But yeah, I'm always a New York guy. I think it's funny because I could really tell. I think I talk fast, I move fast. I really think it's embedded in the New York culture. I don't know if you can identify with that, but yeah, I think that New York is definitely like a really strong. It leaves an imprint on people who live in New York, and especially in the city, and how fast it moves. And it can be intimidating, honestly. But like when I'm in the city and I see people, just the streets are constantly congested with people. It's nuts. It makes you feel very small, and you can see people even when you're in Soho or in the Village. Taking pictures for their own blogs, and sometimes I'm like, this is a huge world. There's so many people, and there's a lot of competition. So it's definitely part of the New York hustle that's embedded in my personality. But yeah, I've always been a New York guy, and I love it here. I think it brings a lot of opportunities within the fashion world as well. Yeah.
Oh, I know. What a concentration of creators, and that's one of the fashion hubs of the entire world. So it can almost be a competitive advantage to be out there.
Yeah, yeah. The truth is, like I said, like I don't know, like I don't know if I'm gonna do this fashion as a, as a job. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people do it. For me, again, I think it's a really a form of self-expression. Like just like in a sense, I think like anybody who's into fashion should kind of have their own account because it's like weird, but it's like playing dress. It's like playing dress up. Like a lot of guys want to dress a certain way and maybe don't have the right environment to do it. So yeah, even though I could make connections, and in New York Fashion Week's like coming up and stuff like that, but I think of it much more like from your guys' perspective. Like I love how you guys are just two normal guys with with jobs and everything like that, and this was just a hobby for you and something you got interested in. You guys both have your own interesting like identity within your channels. Like Brock is. He started out was just like for short guys, like there was a need for that, and I love everything about you is that like it's just like the honest unboxings and like the fact that you buy everything and pay for it and are kind of the guinea pig, even though I'm sure you love it and stuff like that. But to me, like I really don't feel like it's necessarily something about like fashion. You know what I'm saying? I just think I don't know. I think it's something that a lot of people should do, just to express themselves. And I think clothes for me, especially nowadays, I'm saying everyone's dressing better now. Everyone's paying attention to the way they dress. And I think just it's something that everyone should take note of. And I've definitely come across it from that angle that I'm not necessarily this authority guy who is a fashion guy. I'm really just a normal dude who's just trying to share my opinions and in my sense of style and see where it goes like from there and connecting with people.
Yeah, changing the world one guy at a time. So talk about the Mensch branding a little bit, because I know that you've got your definition for it, and I really like that approach.
Yeah, so even figuring out the name, right? So a lot of people do. There's so many people out there, like I'm sure you can attest, but like I don't even know, just like modern style, men's suit page, men's fashion page. Like there's so many of those. And I said, like, to me, we have to be smart about it. And me and David, like, we used to really, really just churn and churn over what our identity was as a page. And so it kind of started with again, I'm like Jewish, so I'm using my Jewish roots here for the mensch is really a word that's been thrown around my house a long, for a long time. Just to be a mensch and act like a mensch. It really just means like a gentleman, kind of. But to me, it really showed my personality again, and it's something that I think people have gravitated to, just the name itself, which I think is good. But really, I mean, I started out, I really wanted to be a kind of affordable fashion, because I think a lot of people, they kind of, especially once you start selling out a little bit and start being sponsored, it can become expensive to really dress well. And I really wanted to show how to dress well, but also I think even think about the word now, like the word mensch is like just everything is about to have a respect for things and respect for your clothes. And to me, it wasn't like necessarily, being cheap, like going to H&M and Forever 21 all the time, but it was really about finding quality, but also being thrifty and being mindful of the way you spend. But also paying attention to where your clothes are made. You talk about this all the time in your videos, like where it's made ethically, and the quality, is it going to last you long, or let's say price per wear, that kind of stuff. Like I wanted to really delve into that and kind of form this identity of being a responsible shopper and looking good, but also having respect for your clothes and treating your clothes well and really investing in things, versus just buying and spending and kind of show. I really didn't want it to be like something about showing off, anything like that. I'm really, really against that. Guys, there's tons of them online who are just kind of just showing off their status and stuff like that. And for me, it's totally, totally not about that. Yeah, and I think that's, to me, my identity as an Instagrammer is really totally just to be kind of just quality and value. Value is a word I throw around all the time. And it's funny, in the in your description on Instagram, you could really write, it's a few words, but it could really tell a lot about you. And I think value is a word that I always stick in that, even though it changes a lot. I always include that word value in my bio, just so, because that's, to me, is a really really embodies my identity as a shopper and as a person, honestly.
Yeah, I like how you put a lot of thought into the brand, and I totally agree. There's like so many poorly thought out Instagram profiles that are just obviously just going for followers, trying to make a buck. Do you have any advice for like total beginners, like anything that looking back you would do differently when you first started?
Yeah, so it's really annoying, but basically that's something that's been a constant struggle. But when we first started, it was pretty amazing how just using hashtags, and it was just a year ago pretty much, but just using hashtags and kind of liking other people, and we did a lot of commenting. really me, honestly, but just commenting a lot of similar pages and forming connections. And we were doing, if I go back to my first pictures, um, they did fine, like 500, 600 likes. And still, I'm pretty much like my really good posts, they still do well. I mean, they do a lot better than that. They do, close to 1,000 likes, but it happens to be that the algorithm has gotten a lot tougher for new people. And it's been really hard on engagement. They're very much into engagement. And I try to explain to people, when you open the Instagram app, there's thousands of pictures that are being posted within minutes, seconds of each other. And it's so competitive, and like, it's hard to think of it like that. But if you really want to make it, and this is a project that, we're serious about, like David and I, we're not just doing this necessarily just for fun, even though that's definitely the motivator. But if you do want to see success and connect with people, then it's something that you've got to really play the game well. And so now it's definitely much harder. I listened to your podcast about from Noah Williams, and I know, and he was really like saying it's very tough, and he gets a lot of questions about how to grow, and he says that it's very difficult in the beginning to grow and to really branch out. And so I think especially now, even 6 months, 7 months later than a few months ago, it's been much harder to figure out how to get the best engagement from people, and what's the best times to post, and does content even matter? Is it really just about the competition that day? What times are people available? It's all these factors that go into it. And so it's become very, very competitive, and these pages are popping up all the time. So even the fact that like you guys found me or whatever, that's like super that's super reinforcing for me that I was able to make an impression on you guys. But I think for someone starting out, again, because I do encourage people to kind of have their own expression. I think definitely content is a big thing. Just I think we can even tell, like David and I, when there's a good picture, and when there's a good grid, or a good picture of shoes we just posted that did really, really well, we could tell. And I think people pick up on it. What I'm saying, and I think really focus on the content. Don't just put out a lot of stuff, but really focus on being genuine, but actually putting out good content, and actually taking time to focus on what people like, and again, keep adapting, keep looking at what people are engaging with and liking the most, and just learn from your own experience, and from your own successes and your own failures, and adapt with the Instagram, and look at it as a challenge, as a puzzle to figure out.
Yeah, I was going to ask where you fall on the quality versus quantity spectrum, but it sounds like and from looking at what you're putting out, you're definitely more on the quality side.
Yeah, I think definitely we've definitely noticed that it's not even worth a lot of times posting something that that doesn't look right, or maybe the color was off, the lighting was off, or we just didn't think it was a good match. That it's really not worth posting, and especially when brands have reached out to us and said, this is kind of related, but that they want to sponsor. Let's say we'll pay you to put a post of our product, let's say, and you just post that picture, right? So we said that we don't want that, because first of all, the quality of our own photos we think is the best, and we want to keep that the way it is, and so people can know that when they go to our page, that this is everything that we do is genuinely us, and that you could tell that when we post something, it's a really good quality picture. David takes a lot of pride in his camera work. I'm saying he spends a lot of money on it and a lot of time on it, and you can tell that we took the pictures a lot of times. Or I think it's very obvious that that what we post is from us directly, and so it's like, even when brands want to send us an advertisement, it's not worth it, because I think that we definitely think that just everything has to be from us and has to be quality, and again, people are very attentive. I know for me personally, I don't know about you guys, but like, I can't use a name. I don't think I should use a name, but there's a specific YouTuber, let's just go with that, who was really great. I think a few years ago, I was really I loved his videos, and then he started getting like really, I don't know how to put this, honestly. I don't want to be rude, but like he got like a little bit of a sellout, and like started doing a lot of ads, and like I started skipping over the ads, and then eventually I couldn't take it anymore. I just stopped watching his videos. And to me, it's like people pick up on that. What I'm saying? People only want genuine stuff and genuine pictures and quality things, and to me that's 100%. To me, the satisfaction that I get when I get real people messaging me is so much greater, because I know people, like, I'm genuinely connecting with people, and it's genuinely coming from a real place, from within my page. You know.
Yeah, I think Brock and I hear a lot. It's referred to as the big three channels that people are sick of, but they keep growing. That's good for them. I just one question before we go into our last round is does David pursue photography professionally, or is it just something he's very passionate about and he's got another career path?
He right now is, I mean, it's really marketing, but I think he's really just an adventure kind of style guy. Maybe I should have had him on the show also. Maybe next time he's going to come. Okay. So he's really just kind of this. I don't think he deals with, let's say, like authority super well. I think he likes to do his own thing, and he's kind of an artist in that sense. And so right now he's working actually as a marketer for someone, just kind of managing their social media accounts. But I urge him to take on roles and just put out ads in local papers and school things and to offer his services. You know, he's really good. I think if you can go see his personal page, maybe we can link it in the description or something. But he takes amazing pictures, and I try to get him to see that more. But he's pretty much, he doesn't like to, I guess, take compliments and stuff like that. He's a pretty modest guy, so he doesn't really pursue it as a profession. But I think, you know, I can tell that he's so passionate. Maybe I'll do it behind the scenes today, because I'm going to go to his house after this, his apartment, and shoot some more pictures. He's really incredible, and he's an incredible worker, and he does such a great job, and he deserves a lot of recognition and stuff like that. And, you know, I don't know, I would really be much worse off without him, like seriously. So yeah, I think professionally, I really think that I mean, who am I honestly, but I think he really does have a future in photography and stuff like that. And that's its own competitive world, by the way, like on Instagram and stuff like that. It's really hard to get noticed. So yeah, I think it's something that definitely he has a lot of potential in, and I really encourage him to pursue it a lot. Actually,
that's good, Brock. Maybe we'll put a pin in that for a future photography roundtable or something, because I could think of Travis White too. But
if you guys are in New York and you need pictures, like hit me up, hit up David. We're gonna hook you guys up.
All right. So the last thing we like to do, Gabriel, is rapid fire questions. It's a newer segment, and only some of our latest episodes have it. But we're just asking a couple 1 or 2 word answers, and then we'll wrap up.
Let's do it.
All right. Oxfords or Brogues?
Brogues.
Morning shower or evening shower?
Evening shower.
Cardio or lifting?
Cardio. I'm running from everything in my life. All the demons.
Your favorite Bond actor?
Yeah, obviously Connery.
All right. The last book that you read?
The last book I legitimately read, I'm not going to say when it was, but it was The Road Less Traveled by, I believe it's Scott Peck. And it's a psych book. Like I said, I'm a psychology major, and really changed my life. It's actually a tough book to read emotionally, but it just has to do with like spirituality and kind of meaning in life and emotions and love. And it sounds kind of mushy, but I guess that's what I'm into, kind of. So that was kind of the last book I read, for sure, and I highly recommend checking it out.
Interesting. I'll find that audible. Spring, summer, or fall, winter for style?
Fall, but I think everyone says fall, right?
I feel fall too, yeah. Navy or charcoal suits?
Navy.
And if you're getting into the shower for a big day and you need to get pumped up, what is the song you're playing?
Well, that's a really tough question. Let's go with Alive by Pearl Jam, because I'm a 90s guy.
Nice.
That's right. I'm only 22, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. My beard shows otherwise, but yeah. I like 90s music.
That's amazing. To be 22 and have a beard like that.
Yo, I got someone just DM'd me like yesterday, and he's like, dude, like, how'd you do it? I was like, I don't know. Like, it just one day, kind of just wake up, and all of a sudden I had some stubble. And then, a few days later, it was really like less than a year ago, I started growing the beard. And it could be the Instagram community. I'm in the rugged community, if you guys noticed. So within the rugged community, everyone has a beard. It's kind of like a rite of passage. So I guess that maybe rubbed off on my genetics and allowed me to grow this beard.
Well, I'm jealous.
It's all genetics. No matter how long I wait, it would never be that bushy.
Except you guys both look really young, so that's going to really help you out. Trust me, in the long term.
One day.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, Gabriel. Thank you for coming on today. Everybody, check out the Mensch Instagram. You've been putting your videos up on YouTube, and so I know you got a following over there as well. But keep up the great work, and hopefully, Brock and I can meet up at some point in New York and maybe get some sweet photos.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys so much for having me. Also, you guys are like personally role models for me, I'm telling you, and for tens of thousands of other people out there. So I really appreciate coming on and hanging out with you guys, and hopefully we'll be in touch about further stuff in the future.
Sounds awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Buttoned Up Podcast, a collaboration between John Shanahan of The Cavalier and Brock McGough of Modest Man, and we will see you next week.